Hey guys, it's Aaron. I thought I'd take you for a walk. I'm just going to talk a little loud. Hopefully you guys can hear me. And this is one of those talking out loud videos. I'm not really organized. I just want to, most of the time I do my videos, I just want to get to the point. It's called God a Minute, man. Get to the point and in and out, let's go. But you know what, I'm just going to talk out loud. I got like so many things on my mind and not complete thoughts, but just wanted to talk about just general Rapture thoughts and timing a little bit and the whys, the what ifs, I don't know, just a lot of interesting connections with some people and leave it incomplete. And so let's go for a little walk in this random park here and talk things out. So first off, yeah, a couple announcements too. What are some announcements? So obviously, thank you guys for supporting and donating and stuff like that. I really appreciate it. It's what's supporting me right now, so I appreciate that, and thank you. The prayer stuff, we're just taking a little pause on the prayer nights. We're gonna have some study videos. We had Samuel on, we had Dale on. We're gonna have Jared on. Supernatural by Design Wednesday. I forget what that day is. We might have Tony from the Cataclysm on. Talk about some of his dreams and Christie's dreams. They had some real cool connections. James Smith might be on too, so we're just going to do some study videos and stuff like that, and maybe we'll hop back into the prayer stuff in a couple weeks, and we might change the night of the prayer time as well. My schedule's a little bit off, and I'm just trying to reinvent my schedule a little bit. And okay, so some open talks. Yeah, I've been doing this for like 2.5 years now, so it's like, wow, like, man, you experience a lot, you see a lot of things, you see a lot of connections, you experience things, and then a day passes or whatever, right? And you go, oh man, okay. So it's like, I think we're all maturing in our walk, and we're trying to just see things in a different light and try and relearn things, and everything you learn, you try and restudy, reevaluate things, and take things into consideration. But anyway, so one interesting thing that happened on Sunday was, I was like, you know what, maybe I'll text Tony, because didn't he have a dream about Zelensky or something like that? And so I haven't texted him in like maybe almost a year, I don't know, or 6 months, a long time. And I just texted him, and then his video came up. And so when I was texting him, he uploaded a video in the same minute, basically. Like, whoa. And then on the video he was talking, he referenced me, like, whoa, okay. So anyway, long story short, I just called him. and like, your dreams are so much like Christie's dreams. And because he had a dream about, I'm sure he's fine with me sharing, because he shared it on his channel before, but he was dreaming about Zelensky before it actually happened. So he was dreaming he was packing ice, and Zelensky was his boss. But at that time, this was before Zelensky was on the scene. He didn't know who Zelensky was. And same thing with Christie. Right around that same time, which would have been the fall of 2021, Christie was getting these dreams about Bear and Gate. And at the time, she understood that Bear was Russia, but she didn't understand that Gate meant Ukraine. And so we talked with Tony for about an hour on Sunday, and how they were having some very, very similar dreams and patterns, and it was really cool. So I think we're going to get them on together, and they can have at it and share some stuff. But then I said, Tony, what do you think about all this Babylon stuff? And because there seems to be, like, I'm trying to understand the Babylon thing and understand all that, and who's Babylon, when does it fall, and things of that nature. And I'm still pretty open-minded about it, and I know all you guys have your own perspective, and it seems to be a heated debate. I know some people think it's the Catholic Church, some people think it's the old Babylon in Shinar, some people think it's New York, some people think it's, well, I've heard somebody say it's Jerusalem, like, my goodness. But it's important for us to understand that there's different perspectives, but it's not a salvation issue or anything like that. But understanding who Babylon it will, I think, inevitably, and when it falls, will inevitably help us understand the timing of the tribulation. Nevertheless, my perspective lately, I'm leaning towards that 90% of it, 90% chance that spiritual Babylon is represented through New York. That's my perspective right now, and but until further notice, we'll swap, and we'll consider things and understand that the Catholic Church is, that the whole Vatican thing is very not, God is not happy with that either, and so on. So I understand that that's part of the whole structure. But anyway, so I was like, Tony, what's your perspective on all this, And he was saying that the statue is the Statue of Liberty, is actually was designed to represent Ishtar, the goddess Ishtar, and actually it's called the Queen of Heaven in Jeremiah, I think it's chapter 7 in Jeremiah 44, where they were basically worshiping the Queen of Heaven, Ishtar, like the Babylon goddess. Okay, so and then God's like, because you did this, basically you're in trouble. I'm gonna blow you up. Okay, so this Statue of Liberty was designed in such a way to look like the statue of Ishtar. Like, it's built to look like a Babylon goddess, the goddess of harlotry, etc. And no coincidence there. And so it's like, it makes you wonder, was John maybe even seeing the Statue of Liberty in the book of Revelation when it's talking with the description, Revelation 17? Who knows? But it's an interesting thought. But my line of thinking lately is the rapture and escape from horribleness. It's an escape from destruction. And I think, I don't know. For me, my perspective is New York has to fall. It's got to fall hard, it's got to fall fast in order for this new system to come into play. So that was interesting. And anyway, we'll talk more about that and consider all things and consider some studies. But this rapture is an escape from horribleness. It's an escape from total destruction. And we kind of see this looming with this war and this, everybody's sort of just escalating. So, anyway, that's some thoughts there. And in terms of rapture timing, I did a video a week or two ago, basically laying out a tribulation timeline. Of course, we're all guessing and being hypothetical about everything. But I'd like to think we're out of here before that eclipse. I'm guessing. I don't know. Nobody does know the day of the hour. I'd like to think that we're out of here before that eclipse in April. But we'll see. And so, if our calendar's right, are we still in the 10th month? I haven't looked yet, but we're in the 10th month of Esther, I believe. And then Purim's around the corner, and then we've got the Passover thing. And so, out of all these dates, I think Passover season is probably the best candidate for if you're gonna try and match it with the times that we're in. I think we're going to see some more escalation of this war. And in the Bible, I think it's 2 Samuel, chapter 11, I believe. That's when they went out to war in the month of March, in the spring. That's just typically what the season that they would do it. And I believe I heard a podcast saying that if China's going to invade Taiwan, it would be in March because the weather is favorable at that time. And so I think the rapture would be kind of in conjunction with, a very high escalation moment of war. And so that's something to be said. Oh yeah, the other thing too is, Jarrett's going to talk about that too, but it's he's kind of matched the eclipse of when Hitler came on the scene to the eclipse that's coming in April. So we're going to talk about that a little bit more. So the Antichrist potentially might arrive on the scene in the spring. It kind of makes sense that the timing of that would happen, but we would need to see some more escalation to take place in terms of war stuff. And so for me, I'm expecting a bit more escalation, a little bit more taunting, a little more missile here, a little more missile there, a little more movement of military material, and then to a point where we got to go. That's where I'm kind of leaning towards right now. Well, yeah, the other thing I wanted to say too was I did a live stream with Dale, and I don't think we clearly explained the tree thing that well because the live stream got cut off. But the tree thing. So essentially, there was some sort of a tree that was dedicated to the Queen in the spring of 2022, and so what Dale had done was he related it to Daniel chapter 4, because Nebuchadnezzar had a dream about his tree, and it was taken down, and then 12 months later, after he said a prideful statement, he was turned into a beast. And so it's really interesting that, could this be a connection with Daniel 4 and the fall, essentially, of Babylon, 12 months later. So this, like I said, this tree was erected, I don't know, was it maybe in April or something of that, 2022? Or it was mentioned or whatever. There was a couple dates on that, but interesting that we're coming to that 12-month window. And also Tyre, after 70 years, judgment came on Tyre. I think that was in Isaiah 23. And is there any relation, because the queen had ruled for 70 years, so is there any relation to the queen dying, ruling for 70 years, and this tree connection, connecting it with Daniel chapter 4? So that's the other thing too. All right, and another verse that has been, I think it's now my second favorite verse in the Bible, after John 14:6, where Jesus says he is the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through him. My second verse now officially would be Philippians 3:20. Let's see if I got this memorized. For our citizenship is in heaven, in which we eagerly await our Savior, the Lord Jesus Christ. This world has its troubles, but guys, just remember it's not permanent, and that's been helping me a lot lately. Yeah, it's been tough, a lot of ups and downs, and I know you guys are going through it too. But our citizenship is in heaven. It's just like every time I get a little bit, overwhelmed or whatever, I go, oh yeah, that's right. This is not my home. It's not my home. And just so you guys, if you guys are having a hard time or a bad day or a bad moment, just remember this is not your home. Don't be surprised when you go through trials and tribulation as if it was never supposed to happen. I mean, this is life. This is planet Earth. That's why we're so longing for his appearing. We're just longing to be home with him. And so I appreciate your prayers, and I'll continue to pray for you. And let's continue to support each other and lift each other up as the body of Christ. Put aside our differences. We all are studying. We're going to have different perspectives on our studies, and that is totally fine. None of us are going to figure it all out and know all the answers. But keep on studying, keep on understanding his word, keep on keeping on, one day at a time. Remember that this is not our home. Our home awaits us up there. We cannot wait, and we've got to be so close. Everything's merging, everything's so close. And another thought that I was going to say too, United Nations. Okay, so I know it's a little bit of a scrambled video, but what are you gonna do? Just talking to that. United Nations, their slogan is peace and safety. Essentially, they say that a lot in their speeches, and they happen to be based out of New York. And those are the guys that put that statue up. You guys all remember that. Most of you that have been watching for the last year or two, that what was it? That lion-winged, rainbow-looking statue. Anyway, they took it away, but they're in New York too. So think of this, okay? This perspective, anyway. Go with me for a second. So Thessalonians chapter 4, 16 and 17, we'll be caught up with him in the clouds. And then we've got this next verse or two saying, when they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction. But what if New York actually is, the spiritual representation of this Babylon system? But what if this verse in Thessalonians was really saying, who's they? What if this verse was actually, when the United Nations says peace and safety, then sudden destruction comes upon them? Just a thought. Just a thought. Anyway, we're getting close. There's more things we can say. I could say, but my perspective is, look, the rapture is an escape from a horrible event. Okay, it's an escape from what is going to be the worst judgment ever in the history of humanity. It's going to be bad. It's going to be really bad. It is not just a day. It's not just a fluffy day. It's a day of horribleness. It's a time of horribleness. The day of the rapture and the whole 7 years, it's going to be very bad. There's going to be a little bit of structure, but not really. It's going to be just a time that this this humanity has never seen before. So it's very important for you to get tight with Christ, as I say. Sometimes I keep it light, but this is very serious. You've really got to do this, because you're not going to have an enjoyable experience if you're not caught up, if you don't have a relationship with Jesus Christ. A, admit you're a sinner. B, believe in the finished work of the cross because you're a sinner. Confess with your mouth, believe in your heart, and you shall be saved. Romans 10:9-13. Okay, guys, I love you very much. I do think it's soon. When? Your guess is as good as mine. I've got some perspectives, and I'm sure you do too. Keep stable, keep going, keep joy, and love each other. That's the greatest commandment. And see you in the next video, okay, guys? Love you. See you in the clouds one day closer.